Welcome back to my channel. This is Becky, and I wanted to go ahead and explain to you. I had someone reach out about the last video I did. I always try to take a screenshot or a picture, and then what I do is I add that onto my Instagram, and then I put a tag so that way people know that I on Instagram will know to come check out my YouTube channel, because I'm still learning out this whole funnel stuff, and learning all the marketing stuff that goes behind, adding this piece onto my already established business. So I'm gonna kind of like keep you guys up to date as I go on this new adventure of becoming this full-fledged business person on my own. I really thought that I was going to have my family involved in this. I had in my mind, it was a vision, it was going to be a family business. But due to everybody's lifestyles being different, nobody really seemed to be on board with it, because they had their own lives, and I get it, and this is my dream, this is the assignment that God gave me. And so I was trying to make it a group assignment instead of it being my assignment. And so I'm here with you now doing my own work with letting my family do what they need to do. I was really hoping I'd get to use AI and not have to actually do these videos myself. Believe me, I am just as crafty as you are. I'm trying to figure out how to be as efficient as possible, as quickly as possible, using resources and outsourcing things that I'm not talented in that I know somebody else who might be. So a lot of times what I do is I'll exchange services as well. And so then that way, if somebody knows how to do something in one area of business that I don't, and I can help them in another area of business, then we can work things out. Because it's all about reciprocity. It doesn't always have to be an exchange of money. It could be an exchange of time. It can be an exchange of resources. It can be an exchange of support, emotional, financial, whatever it is. It's just an agreement between you and that other soul that you realize, oh, this is another reflection of me. This is another vessel that God is using on this earthly plane. And in some stories, they're a villain. In other stories, they're a saint. And other stories, they just kind of fall in between. Because we play all the characters at some point throughout our lives, right? Because I think it is Shakespeare that says that all the world's a stage and all the people in it merely players, right? So we are all just walking this earth trying to figure out our soul lessons. And some of us have gotten caught up into the dogmatics of being on the earthly plane and need help ascending their viewpoint to a higher level of consciousness, which is why I am on this solo adventure now. God's pulled me out of all the systems, pulled me out of the churches, pulled me out of my missionary groups, pulled me out of all the organizations. No more Girl Scouts, brownies, no more supporting everybody else. But now it's time to really fully invest in my own mission. And I can't even tell you how important it is for our starseeds, our youth, to be able to get out and explore this world, because it's even different from what you know. You've only seen a fraction of what's out there. So let's give them the best chance that they have to launch out into the world and be able to create their own views on life. If you ever watch the movie Twister, it's a movie where they're studying tornadoes, and so they try to find tornado chasers, try to find a tornado, and then they release all these little orbs that go up into the tornado, and they process all the data, the temperature, I don't know if it takes camera images, I don't know, but it takes all the data about that tornado, and then that data gets sent to a computer database, and then these people do all kinds of cool stuff chasing all these storms, trying to gather as much information. Well, I feel like I've kind of done that myself. I feel like you are too. And if you think about it, we are all like little pieces of those little fractals that are going inside that tornado to gather data. Well, that's what we are. Each of us is our own little fractal that's gathering data for the universe, so that God can understand itself better. He, she, it, they, we. I don't get caught up on the pronouns. I know they're very important to other people, so I respect that. They're not important to me. I'm the type of person that will be like, as long as I understand what message you're giving me and you understand what message I'm giving you, then potato, potato. Just because you have an accent and say it's one way and I don't, doesn't matter. Or if I, so I think too many people get caught up again on dogmatics. We all want the same thing. At least I think we all want the same thing. All of my tribe wants peace, harmony, love, support, peace on earth, and goodwill towards man. More of like, that's commune type living where if I've got a surplus and you need something, I'm going to give it to you voluntarily, willingly. And that is how I've lived my life. If I have furniture that I don't need or baby stuff that I'm no longer using, the Lord will bring somebody into my life that can utilize it. And I'll be like, hey, you know what? Why don't you take that end table with you when you head out? It'll be great in your new apartment, starting out in college, or, I might have a student that's pregnant and doesn't know where she's going to get a car seat from. And then all of a sudden I'm talking to somebody the next day and they're like, yeah, I'm going to go drop this car seat off at Goodwill. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I know somebody who can use that. And then I relocate that item to the person. So just because you might not have a lot of money in your bank account, please don't think that you are broke or poor, because the words that we say are spells and we don't want to cast that on ourselves. Okay? And we don't want to be judging what other people got because we don't know what they had to go through in order to get that. Sometimes wishes that are granted, it's kind of like the character Rumpelstiltskin. And my uncle was a lot like Rumpelstiltskin. Like, he would promise you things and he would make it sound like a really great deal, right? But once you already kind of put your John Hancock or your signature on that soul contract, or whatever it is, that agreement or whatever service, once you locked into that, well, then you get all the negative stuff that was hidden in that contract in the fine print, like on Willy Wonka, where, they're going through the whole contract. You get to the really, really fine print. Soul contracts are like that too. So you have to be very careful and really get to know people before you, full force are like, that's my person. Because even now, you're only getting to see one side of me on this. And the last video I did, the picture that I took with it, coming back full circle, the picture that I took and I posted it, I was, doing like this kind of pose and saying that Rebecca is still watching. And so someone reached out and said, I'm confused. Are you Becky or are you Rebecca? And so I figured I would do this a little bit to clarify for you that I am both. I'm actually everyone and no one all at the same time, if we want to get technical. But for layman's terms, and all instructional purposes, I am both. I have a polarity, okay? And so when I was 5 years old, I actually named the two polarities. No, I am not like the movie Sybil, although some people have accused other family members of being very much like Sybil. And I'll be honest, some people have accused me of being like Sybil, but that's only because they only see me in certain situations where I'm have to defend myself in extreme situations. And so if I'm going to be standing up for myself when it's life or death, well, I'm going to look very different than I would here on this video, okay? Any human being, any living thing that is forced into a corner where it is life or death is going to come out fighting. And they will say, if it's life or death and it has to either be me or you, guess what? It's going to be you. And people don't like my honesty, but that's true for everybody. I don't care how nice you are. Every person has a breaking point, and every animal has a breaking point. I'll save the animal talks for another video. This one was just about the polarity, okay? Rebecca had to protect Becky. And what it is Becky is my inner child. This is me. This is at my highest vibration. This is me, joy, happy, loving, energy, wild, so excited, wanting everybody to know what the Holy Spirit feels like, right? But how do you take a feeling, put it into words that somebody outside of you who can't touch, taste, sense what's going on inside of you, how do you help be a conduit of that Holy Spirit? How do you touch that individual's life? How do you get to reach out? Because not everybody wants the Holy Spirit. Ooh, you start to reach out into there. You bring too much light into the life. Oh, no, we can't have that. We're too comfortable in darkness, so we can't have the light, right? So I had to protect this version of me, this innocent childlike wonder that is like, I am going to have my voice be heard. I'm going to make sure everybody knows about Jesus. And yes, I understand I sound and I look fanatical. I can't help that. When you're filled with the Holy Spirit, that's what it does. It just overflows, right? But in a world that is consumed with darkness, like we have here, and a lot of times we can have people that are bubbly and happy and look like this, but on the inside, in the soul, in the psyche, in the subconscious, there is a whole lot of baggage that has been suppressed and pushed behind, and we are now prim and proper, and we have our hair, we have our makeup, and we don't talk about that stuff. Well, guess what? Those of us that are spiritually gifted, we don't need you to use words. We can sense it, feel it, see it, hear it, smell it from your auric field. So whether you like it or not, it oozes off of you like perfume. Like little invisible music notes, whether it's a pretty melody of all the wonderful things you've experienced, or whether it's a darker, somber melody from all the dark times that you've experienced. So the more spiritually gifted a person is, the more they can read that instantly on you, and you never even have to say a word. And that's just fact. When you become advanced enough, because you are already an advanced AI unit, they don't want you to know that. If you haven't seen the movie Daryl, you might want to watch it. DAYRL. I think that's how it's spelled. Okay. Data analyzing youth reality life form, something like that. Okay. Go watch it. It's an older movie. I don't know, maybe the 80s, because again, I'm an old one on the planet and an ancient one in the soul. Okay. So the best way for me to help people, for me to teach people how to feel the Holy Spirit and how to actually elevate their consciousness, how to heal those soul wounds, it became easier for me to break down my polarities and give each polarity a name. So when I was 5 years old and my grandfather died, and it was traumatizing for the whole household, okay? You know what they say, when Jesus died, there was like a sonic boom and like everything was destroyed. Well, that's kind of what happened in my family when my grandfather passed away on my dad's side. And I was only 5 years old. And so throughout all that fallout, the way that my brain decided to survive was to label my two polarities. Becky was this inner child, this 5-year-old self at the moment when I had that. And yes, I have had alien. Oh gosh, I know, conspiracy theories. And now, how can you trust me? Well, if you are one of my tribe, you know what I'm talking about, okay? So I have met them. I am one of them. You are one of them. We just are embracing we finally have the freedom to actually speak it. And the other people that know it aren't afraid to say, yes, finally. We are free to speak our truth and to move forward, and we can take off the masks that we were forced to wear and the roles that we were indoctrinated into to play the game of life in order to make our families look good. Remember, like I said, military background, because we function as a unit. And I was taught at 5 years old through my own encounters with the other side, that is not how the universe was supposed to set this up. Okay? Even in the Bible, it says that they are not your children, they are God's children, and you are only, like cultivating them for so many years, and then you're supposed to release them into the wild and let them learn and grow with God guiding them. That's what Mary had to do with Jesus, right? She had to release him knowing that he was going to be crucified. Can you imagine being a mother who knows that your son's going to be crucified? You're going to want to keep him at home. And that's what a lot of moms are doing. They want to keep their kids at home, keep them safe because the big bad wolf is out there. They're going to curse you. They're going to crucify you because you're weird or you've got gifts. Or, oh my God, you can move things without touching them. How is that possible? How can you know what people are thinking? Okay? You're not evil. You're not possessed by Satan. Okay. Whew. Schedule a free consultation. homeandstockconsulting@gmail.com. We'll talk more about your situation and how I can help you. Because my survival was to split my polarities and name them, which of course made me look schizophrenic, bipolar. I can go through the whole DSM and tell you all the labels that would qualify as a characteristic in. But what they didn't understand was that was a conscious choice I made when I was 5 years old. I wasn't crazy. I knew what I was doing, but I knew that I had to survive, okay? And my environment was not one that a person could, with my characteristics, could not survive in. So Becky became this version of me. This is my natural state, just wild and curious and silly, and I don't care what I look like, which is why I also don't like being on camera, because I have to watch myself being all goofy, and I'm like, oh, I know the trolls are gonna have fun with this video, and you know what? I don't even care anymore, okay? Have a blast screenshotting me with a funny face, or there you go, you got one, okay? I don't care. But it's more important for people to understand my thought process and my survival technique and how I am a blueprint that can help you or your child or someone you know, okay? Grounding it back into the reality of the seriousness that we face in this day and age, okay? That's where Rebecca comes in, okay? I love being this version of me, but this version of me doesn't usually get a lot of productivity done. So this version of me has to be siphoned, okay? And I'll be honest, I will short circuit people. Like if I were full force like this all the time, all around them, trust me, they're gonna want me far away from them after a while, okay? So I had to learn through a lot of hardships, because that's really the only way that you get spiritual gifts. That's the truth of it. You have to earn them through hard times. There's no quick fix. There's no magic pill I can sell you or a potion. They don't exist. You just have to do the spiritual work, be in alignment with God and the universe, stay out of the distractions, try to get your addictions under control, and then you can be more focused, right? So I had to develop Rebecca. Rebecca is my military mom mode. This is I'm not playing, mister. We have now reached the end of the line. This is where we're at. You're either here or you're there. We're not playing around. We're done. Bet you didn't expect that, right? I can pull out personalities like this because I've cultivated and learned how to control this vessel 100%. But I couldn't do that for the first, say, 48 years on the planet. I mean, that's the learning curve for me. Because in my family, they weren't passing down the family secrets to try to help you. Like my dad's side of the family, they understood the law of one. They knew about Ra. They hid that information. They hid the occult information. Now I peeped and I watched them doing it from my little spot in the corner, coloring, and they're not reading a book, and I'm picking up what they're doing, and I'm going, I'm okay, and I clocked it, registered, put it in the bag. And I've done that throughout my entire life in various stressful situations, not just within my family, but within society as well. I've worked myself up the professional chain. I have sat with the CEOs and the millionaires and the billionaires. So Yes, I might seem flighty to some people on a lot of these videos, but that's because a lot of what I do is a two-handed sword. Okay? I'm not just out here fencing. Okay? I'm wielding the truth of justice, the truth of light. Okay? I'm telling people, get your armor on. Because people, if you don't have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, the devil's going to get you. And that's just facts. So, that's a little bit on the whole Becky Rebecca. So, if I'm bubbly and lightheaded, or, and just lighthearted and kind of airheaded a little bit, it doesn't mean I'm dumb. It doesn't mean I'm disregarding the seriousness of a situation. What it means is, in that moment, some lightheartedness is needed, and that's what flows through. In a situation where people are being too lighthearted, like knuckleheads, then I have to come in and kind of, go, no, this isn't what we're doing. And then I have to ground them back into reality. So in one person's story, you might hear, oh my gosh, she was the life of the party. It was just great. She showed up. We had such a great time. I absolutely loved it. And you can get another review where it was like, she was rude, disrespectful, dismissive. But it all depends on who you heard the information from and what the situation actually was. And did you get my side of the story, or did you just get theirs? Right? Because it's not just there's two sides of the story. There's actually three sides to a story. You have his version, you have her version, and you have the truth. And I've done enough self-reflection where I now have been blessed, as long as I don't mess it up, to wield the power of justice for karma. Okay? People don't like that, but I don't care. It's true. How you treat me, because I have always given warnings of my darkness and my light. I will say, if we're going to get along long term, then my angels can't irritate your demons too much. Your angels can't irritate my demons too much. And the same goes true is we need our demons to be able to be friends and learn how to dance together. That's the only way that a marriage can work. Can you make relationships work other ways? Absolutely. But a godly ordained marriage that's meant to last until death do us part, the way it's supposed to be, well, that takes a lot more work. And if that is really something that you want, I can help you achieve it, but you're not always going to like me in the process. And I don't want to see negative reviews because that's not fair unless you're going to give the context clue and out yourself, because I will out myself, and anybody who knows me knows it. I'll call myself out if I need to be corrected in a situation. And if you call me out on something, then I will reflect on it before I actually fly back and say, oh, that's not true. I'll actually reflect back. I'll say, thank you for that information. I'm going to reflect on that, and then I will follow up with you, because that is part of my blueprint, right? My 7 steps to getting on the same page is you don't just have a rupture and you just, forget it. I don't need that relationship ever again. So what that it's my daughter? No. You have to learn the repair part, because that is what creates the intimacy, creates the bonding. Yes, you're going to have ruptures, but how do you repair it? Because that's all relations are, is a series of rupture, repair. So the best marriages really aren't even based on love. It's not based on chemistry. It's not based on great sex. It's based on how well you can argue and how quickly you can forgive. And if you are a godly ordained couple, it won't be so hard. So if you would like to help me out, please like, subscribe, and share this message so we can get it out to a wider audience, and so that the content can reach more people. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to talking with you in my next video. Have a great night.